along the world. Amongst the world.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. It's another CosTalk Live Sunday. It's another cold day, at least for me in Arizona. I'm sure it's cold everywhere else too, but it's been cold here. We had so much rain the past week, and we didn't get any rain like December, which is normally when it rains. Yeah. So the past week it's been like 64 degrees in my house when I wake up.
We didn't get any rain even during, barely during monsoon season, which is where we get the most, I think.
We're been raining for 2 weeks now.
Yeah,
Hopefully there'll be some sun.
Arizona, if we get rain, we're like, yes! We celebrate. We're like, oh my gosh. But then we also remember that we don't really have a drainage system. So our cars are just floating.
Our cars don't really float, but they might.
No, they don't. They sink. But
they can if you get caught. People always try and drive through flooded areas because I don't know why.
We have a lot of dips in our freeway system, and there's always people that are like, oh, it's not that deep, and you're like, you know how deep that the whole thing's full. It's got to be at least 10 feet high. Your car's not going to make it. They try anyways, and so you'll see these little cars just.
It's bad.
We practically live in boats, so it's
there you go. So, okay, enough about crazy rain because
we're confused when it's not raining. We don't know what to do.
It's so nice to have a fellow Seattleite with me.
You're like, what? Should I go outside?
You go outside and you see the sun, and you're just like.
Never mind. Yep.
You know what? Every time I've gone to Comic-Con, there was one time where it was raining a lot, but I swear I bring the sun with me because even Kii-Chan made a joke one time. She's like, every time you're here, it's sunny. I'm like, I know. I think I just bring the sun with me.
And that's so true. Every time you come, it's been really nice weather, and I'm always shocked because the couple of times I went to Emerald City without you, it was just dreary and gross and wet, and I'm like, well, it's Washington, we're used to it. But
I was like, hey, sunshine, come follow me.
You're like, we're going somewhere gloomy. Come on, let's go. Let's go.
Gotta pack it up in my suitcase. So, all right. Well, sorry about the weather talk, everybody. We're just it's Sunday, and then but today we've got a guest, which is directly above me, and this is JSythe Customs. So, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody about what it is you do?
Well, my name's Jason, and I build props and costume commissions and various artworks, I guess now.
You're so pretty.
Thanks, COVID, taking out my costuming commission work. I've been making costumes for about 9 years almost now. I feel like 2012 is still 2 years ago, and I have to.
Yeah, that's totally true. I agree with you here. I feel like 2012 was 2 years ago too. I feel old now. But thank you for introducing yourself, and we'll show more pictures of what Jason does here soon. Kii-Chan, your turn now.
Hello, everyone. Real low energy today, I think, from everybody. It's tired and dreary here, but I'm excited to be on. I decided to do the Lazy Haru costume today, but I am a crafter from the Seattle area that have been crafting for 15 years now. I do a little bit of everything: panel work, skits, costumes, judging. But my favorite thing to do is to be in the workshop and hang out with my lovely friends once COVID is over. So, yeah.
Jinx is like, no, I'm busy.
I'm just doing the Instagram stuff. No, it's cool. Hi guys, I am Jinx, Jessica from Jinx Cosplay, and I've been cosplaying since 2001, and I am an Arizona-based cosplayer with Sam. Not with Sam. We're friends. So we're both married, but not to each other. Yeah. I do a lot of video game cosplays. You can see I'm in Tifa, so my big thing right now is Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I'm working on live action Jasmine, as you can see back there. So I also do Moana and other Disney characters as well. Hi. Follow us on Instagram if you're not already doing it.
And I think this is made at this point over 60 costumes, and I'm crazy. And I'm currently sponsored by the Cosplay Pros. I have an SOW for everything, and I'm a big planner, so I have a statement of work for any commission I've ever done, and I have a draft of every single costume I've made, documented down to like the products I use.
She's the crazy friend.
I need to know and remember.
She's the one that manages all of our groups because she just.
All right. I used to be a former project manager, so very organized. But yeah, no, and we currently on CosTalk Live have the cosplay company that provides us with products for everybody to test. So you'll see the logo up there in the corner. And if you're interested, check it out. Their stuff is super comfortable. They make costumes that are meant to also be worn outside in casual wear. So like they're really well constructed garments, and they're not like exorbitant. So. And
we have a code, so CosTalk Live will get you 15% off.
Yeah,
and I'll be posting my content soon. I finally actually took pictures in my cosplay.
I'm about to take pictures in the Doctor Who jacket I got. So,
oh, I'm excited, guys!
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out what shirt to wear with that thing. So, all right, and hi, Chris. Thank you for joining the stream today. All right, so today we're talking about unconventional materials, and everyone's definition of unconventional is different. So just be aware of that. What one person considers unconventional, the other might consider completely normal. So you might hear someone say, oh, well, for instance, I know that Jason used latex for the Davi, and for most people, they're like, oh, that's normal. For me, that's like really unconventional just because latex is a pain in the butt. But for others, they could use it all the time and it's normal. So please be aware of that. I wanted to put that disclaimer out because unconventional is subjective. So, all right. So
yeah, sorry, I forgot to miss that.
It's okay. I'm on round 2 caffeine.
Round 2 caffeine. So, Jason, do you have? Because I've got your like little images pulled up here. Do you have a particular costume that you used unconventional materials in, or an unconventional material that's like your favorite that you want to talk about?
Oh, I have. Oh gosh, I have quite a few. I think my favorite costume lately has been Troy from Borderlands 3, though. That one took me several long months of NDA secrecy and crying.
Oh, you're like, oh, the crying. So I'm gonna start pulling up photos. So what did you use in the costume that kind of you would consider unconventional?
One of the things is I make a lot of my Borderlands wigs using foam and foam clay. And it keeps that like 3D game design kind of look without losing it with the rest of the painted outfits. I actually have that one right here.
Oh, that's so cool.
And this is one of those things that I'm wanting to delve into. Is I'm working on. I'll be working on a new Mass Effect costume this year, Nyreen Kandros, and I want to use foam clay for my mask and just a series of magnets instead of.
I honestly love foam clay. Like
yeah,
it's so helpful and so like anything that you need that you'd think that you'd put like wrap 2mm around usually or something, like you can just get a lot of it easier like smoothing.
It really feels like a hole, like almost literally. It really feels a hole of like materials that we need for very specific things, like lightweight, moldable. Like you've got moldable, you've got clay, right? Lightweight, you've got foam. But for a long time, it's like you had to really choose, like you had to give up one or the other.
Right.
Yeah.
And with these, I start out with like a base at 2mm, and that just. Obviously, I'm not sticking on my head.
Little foam cap.
A little foam, like bald cap. And then I crunch up some tin foil and cover it in masking tape. And it gives a like general shape that I need. And then these will be glued like onto the foam caps and then covered in the foam clay and then dried.
Well, and that's more durable too, because like I've made a foam wig before for Borderlands for Maya. for Borderlands 3, and I made it out of 2 and
Oh yeah, and
4
yours is
millimeter
so
foam.
long for the third one.
Mm.
Oh, that's gotta be so hard with foam.
It's so hard to maintain. I have to store it in a very secure place, wrapped up and protected so that I don't damage it. But it looks cool, but it was like, oh my gosh, why did I make this decision? It would have been way better with foam clay and then just having some like longer strips come out. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely had too much time on my hands with this costume and the different. There might be a video, I think, somewhere. Or there's that.
Here.
The sword. Oh, you might have to.
So just
Oh, you're on my Facebook.
We'll find it.
Got a couple of
Okay.
comments. So Kat, hi Kat. Kat has she's one of our cosplay friends here in Phoenix, and she has her own stream called Craftily Ever After, and she dresses up and plays video games. So check her out. She's so sweet. We love her. And then we have Easg. Yes, it is. She says, yes, it is. My Dobby latex. I cannot talk today, guys. Not enough coffee yet. My Dobby latex. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Would you like me to read the comments today?
Takes 2 hours, so props to anyone using it. Yes. And Chris says, Yvonne Killian says, I use a small Nixie tube clock as a diesel punk arm readout on a cosplay a while back. Did I read another language?
No, it's a Nixie tube is like so Nixie tube clock is think steampunk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the easiest way to describe it.
Like a bunch of tubes, kind of like
it's a larger. I don't think the Nixie tube glass, Chris. You will have to remind me, but it's like a very kind of old timey looking tube, and it's pretty easy to work with. I'm pretty sure it's still pretty lightweight, even if it's glass. But that's Nixie tubes are great. You know, I'm just gonna pull up a picture for you guys.
Yeah, I'm like,
great. I don't know what you're talking about.
That sentence was like crazy. It's like I don't understand. It's
like, here's a Nixie. Okay, so I'll show you guys what the Nixie tube clock is. We're gonna stop sharing this screen, and then I'll just share what a Nixie tube is, so that everyone's like, "What the heck?" So I know what I'm talking about. But this is a Nixie tube clock.
Whoa.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, so like
okay.
And they have larger versions of these that you can actually like put stuff in, or you can just like. I'm assuming that he mounted it to something up here and it was smaller.
That's crazy.
That's cool. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah, so Nixie tubes. So a Nixie tube itself is that weird kind of like it looks like a baby bottle, but it's made out of glass.
a long light.
A long tube, a weird little.
They're like those what are those weird thermometer things you see like old people have that have like the little like weight things in them that like.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what like the Nixie tube is. So yeah, and that's why I was like, oh, I know what Chris is talking about. But I also. I really like steampunk stuff, so that's probably yeah. But no, I mean, like we're talking about foam clay, and like people are probably thinking that's not unconventional. It really is, because a lot of people still use. A lot of people I know still, for some reason, use Sculpey and stuff like that, which is so heavy.
Yeah,
and
this one's Arta's. I have it white and black. And I actually just made my Kirishima horns out of foam clay because I'm going to mount them onto my head, and I wanted something super, super, super lightweight.
Yeah.
And I also just made my halo because I'm doing Creme from Izushiku Review. And so it's super nice. It's kind of stretchy, but like that's the nice part about it.
And you can use water to smooth it out.
Yeah.
And
like the more water you add, the more like of a liquidy consistency that it.
And the longer it takes to dry. So if you have to sculpt it for a longer period of time, like I'm going to be doing a face mask, so I'll need it viable for up to 4 hours. Just keep adding water, and it will prevent it from drying out.
And since we're on that topic, I also use this, which is like the cheaper version. It is actually slightly, I would say, a little denser. It does have a little more weight to it. And a lot of people, I've never had this issue, but a lot of people say it can crack if you handle it wrong.
I had issues with cracking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
our friend. So my
I'm
cosplay
lucky,
partner Lena, she had a model magic made for San from Mononoke, and it was fine for a while, but she dropped it. There's like this little fine crack going up the.
It's a little more delicate, but it's cheaper. So if this is something that you're interested in and you want to learn on, like this is in every craft store. It's I think even in Walmart nowadays. Like you
I
can
feel
get
like
it. play
Crayola
with
had
it.
the right idea. Like they could
Yeah.
have taken it further, right? Like just take it a little bit further and made it
Yeah,
for
'cause
like professional crafts.
I didn't know this existed for a really long time, so I used this stuff. And so like my Demon Rom, all my armor pieces is this in foam. Like my crown is also a lot of this too. So
Do you have photos of
I
your
like
Demon
it.
Rom online, my friend?
Maybe I can send them to you.
But it's amazing that like that clay, I mean, once it's completely cured, is foam. Like it just has the same kind of density as foam, the same kind of durability. Yeah. And then just seal it and you're good. Because that's what I used for my spikes on my Bowser. Because I knew that was going to be knocking into things and stuff. So yeah, that's I cannot stop talking about foam clay. But also remember that like it does just like there's different kinds of foams and densities of foams. Oh look, that's me. And also my horns are made out of foam clay, and you can take those horns off; they're velcroed on. So also remember that there's different kinds of quality of foam clay. I've been using the Cosplay Pros. They're based here in Phoenix. Their foam clay is really, really good. It's really pliable.
It's probably some of the best I've had because you can order some on Amazon called FOMO, and it works, but it dries out so fast, and it's not easy to sculpt with.
There's a couple of different like cheaper brands, and I've used a couple of them, and I used those for like the spikes. So for the spikes, it's a simple shape because they're not as pliable. They won't take any shape. But I use those for like more of the like mass produced stuff, not mass produced stuff, but I had a lot of spikes. I didn't want to use all of my good foam. And then my horns, my horns are made with the Cosplay foam because you could just put them in shape and they're done. There's no bouncing back. The cheaper stuff kind of bounces back a little bit. So it's always good to have. Oh, I made those horns as well out of the Cosplay.
The boob armor I'm wearing is also foam clay. So
yeah.
Okay, I sent you a couple pictures in Messenger.
Okay.
I had to find them. They were buried.
No, that's okay. Because I was wondering, I was like, I feel like I've seen pictures online somewhere, but I can't find them right now.
We should have this like foam clay manipulation stream.
We might have to. But
where did you send it to, Kii-Chan?
The CosTalk live chat messenger.
Okay.
Do you want me to send it elsewhere?
No, it hasn't loaded yet, so I'm just waiting. It might be processing. Okay.
And
cool.
So I'm going to kind of segue into my unconventional material. I'm going to talk briefly on two. One, the thing that I really like using that I've noticed not a lot of cosplayers do is nail polish. Ooh. It's a little expensive, but for gems and details, like so on the ROM when the pictures show and Sam shows, my crown and stuff, that's all nail polish. The black on it, the gems on it. There was just a particular shine I wanted that I just wasn't skilled enough to get using acrylic bases. And so I love nail polish, especially because you can do so many things with it. There's a lot more color range and like weird shiny stuff and glitter and hollow. Like there's so much you can do and use that kind of as your cheater base instead of having to mix stuff. So I love nail polish and I use it a lot. And
I agree though.
Yeah, no, it's I just really like the
coming up.
When I was looking for a gold paint, I ended up using an acrylic that was gold, but I looked into enamels because enamels are actually kind of like a very uncommon paint, usually used for like figures and other stuff, but they're quite expensive, and you only get like these tiny little bottles, and they're quite expensive. So nail polish is pretty similar to enamel because it's called a nail enamel. So that is actually a good way, a good alternative, especially for gems. That's what I used for Umi, the picture that Sam shared earlier. I had a big gem up here. It was ginormous that I made out of foam clay, but then I couldn't get the right finish, so I ended up just covering it in nail polish. So
I got the photos. Okay.
And then back to Dobby, because some people use latex, a lot of people use paints. I've decided to embark on my first adventure using creature skin, which creature cast is kind of it's used usually. It started off being used as a finish for foam. It's really pliable, it's flexible, and it takes to almost all kinds of paints, which is really nice. So I'm using it kind of like how you would use latex, except for I've decided to do double negative. So I casted my arm And then I kind of recasted that so I can just basically pour it on that. And instead of having to do it on my arm and need the help, I'm just kind of crafting it on that. It is definitely a learning curve, which is why I haven't posted anything. I've been trying to test out different materials to rest it on so it can set, because the first material I used was kind of it was a clay base and it was a little too chalky and it stuck really hard. So I switched to more of a porcelain base, and that one's coming up nicely, but I'm not getting the texture I want. Ironically, I dripped some on my aluminum foil that I was working on, and that turned out to be the best. So we might just end up going cheap, but which is fine. It so far is working pretty good, and you'll be seeing my posts on it because I really like it. It's really it's good for sensitive skin, and it takes paint so well. So I'm really excited to test this out and try something new. And it's supposed to be pretty durable because I'll be doing the neck pieces and the arm pieces and probably a chest piece as well. So it's like, well, I want something that I know I don't have to be too fragile with. And so I'll keep you guys up to date on what I'm using. But so far I like it. It's just a huge learning curve for
I've
sure.
never used Creature Cast. That looks cool.
I've used it before, and it was definitely a big learning curve. I ended up giving it to my brother, and he used it on his power armor to seal things, and it ended up working really well for the rubber tubing and stuff like that.
It's really good for that, and so that's what it was originally used for. But it's one of those well, I've seen a lot of people use it for masks and face pieces, so why couldn't it be used for just making a fake skin? So I guess we'll see. The adventure of being a cosplayer.
Yeah, and I mean, I've used we mentioned latex and we mentioned foam clay and nail polish. I use nail polish all the time to paint my gems, but when I do Unconventional, I'm gonna show you what I do when I'm Unconventional. It is like Pringles cans and protein containers, and so when I made my handheld grenade launcher, because I already have a 6'2" tall rocket launcher. I have the hammer, but I wanted to do the actual just handheld, and so I took protein containers and Pringles cans, cut them in half, covered them in foam, and just went through this whole process of fitting them into the actual protein container. Covering it all in foam, and in this foam Cosplay Pros. I even used a Dixie cup inside of this foam container to create this kind of tilted, because her hammer, her grenade launcher isn't fully straight. It has a little angle to it. And so I kept these Dixie cups, and basically I went to my kitchen and was like, what do I have? And you can still see the lid here, which actually because her grenade launcher has that. And I mean, all of this was scrap pieces that I had in a box, so I didn't use any brand new foam. And I even have a video walking through it, but I ended up with a really cool grenade launcher. So all for Pringles cans and protein containers and scrap foam. So
and I mean, you can even reach out to your friends too. If you don't have protein or whatever, you can be hey, I know a workout friend, hey, I know you're in protein, don't throw away your bottles. Ask your friends that have these kind of weird things, hey, give them to me instead of throwing them away. So I'll do that sometimes. My sister will ask me would you need this, would you need that, and I'll be yes or no, and then I'll hoard it or not.
yeah, and we talked about nail polish, so I wanted to show I actually have because I have tutorials for everything. Oh gosh. But I used hard molds and soft molds to cast these, and then they look so nice.
Oh, they're so pretty.
I did the same thing with mine because that's what Sam had told me to do. So
and even if the gems come out cloudy, these came out cloudy, you just put a little bit of the lacquer. Wow, Sam, lacquer. There's two different things there.
Lacquer. What kind of lacquer are you thinking about?
You put a little bit of the lacquer over the top of it, and they come out super shiny and sparkly. So it clears them right up.
Especially if there's any dull, any scrapes or you had to sand it down or whatever. Clear nail polish will fix that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I have a picture in here. Yeah, so they come out. They look really nice in photos, and they shine really bright. So nail polish is your best friend.
don't have any pictures of it, but I use that for Elias too. He has that the Western style tie with the gem in it, and so I use just nail polish for that piece, and it's one of my prettiest pieces.
Even cheap nail polish is fine because, like, obviously the difference
Yeah.
between cheap and quality is like how long it stays, how strong it is. But when you're using it on props, you can just seal it with either a harder, like a better clear coat or whatever. So don't go and get expensive nail polish because they can be stupid expensive.
Or
Just
catch
go to the
deals.
dollar store.
Yeah, just
dollar
catch
store.
sales. That's what I usually do. Is I'll catch it when it's like buy two get two free, and just collect all the colors that I'm looking for. Like what my actual favorite nail polish, actually, out of all the colors I have, is I have this really nice white that kind of looks like a nail, like off of like a werewolf or something. Like it's an off-white with this dual tone in it, and so I use it for all my nail pieces, and I use it for my wings for Hiroshima, all the claws on it, because it just, I mean, it still has the shine to it, but it just looks like grimy and fantasy, and it's my favorite nail polish. I use it for everything.
Wow, that's cool. You'll need to like send me a link.
Yeah,
to that.
I'll find a picture.
We have a couple
long time ago.
comments, and I see Chris made a comment about he coded his T60 armor in Creature Cast, and that's the only reason why he survived his fall down the escalator.
Nice.
It's really sturdy, which is why we decided, because I brainstormed with my workshop parents, if you watched a couple episodes back, what we wanted to do, because I was like, took me almost 2.5 hours to get into Dobby the first time I did it. And I'm like, this isn't going to happen every convention.
Oh,
no. Yeah, you agree with me. And so it's just, so I was just like, what can I do? And so we just sat and brainstormed, and he brought up creature casting, and I was like, you know what? For $30 to play around with this stuff, I'll buy a bottle. And so we decided to go in. We bought a big workshop bottle, and now we're just testing it out and trying what we want. And if it turns out nicely, hopefully that 2 hours might turn into an hour to get into Dobby.
Right. So much work, but like I'm already like it needs some touch-ups here and there, but I'm already 10 times happier with the fact that I can just literally take this and like slap it on my face.
Oh, that's cool.
It's good. Like
yeah.
I felt very serial killerish last night, like leaving these pieces to like dry, and very like just Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like
yeah, Hannibal
like,
the Cannibal.
I am uncomfy with myself.
Let's make new skin. Yeah. No, it looks so good though. It makes me so excited to work on mine.
So a couple of comments here is East says Dobby 2.0 has plans for casting reusable pieces that I can quickly glue on. Super interested in how that goes for you. Yeah, so share that with us later, guys. Let's see. Chris says, oh, he coded it. Okay. And Robert, hi Robert. He was our guest, I think last week? Yeah.
Yeah, it was last week.
He was our guest last week. He says, my Raider power armor was made with bits and pieces of everything I could find. And that's what's great for Fallout is like you literally can just like cover yourself in junk and you're like, perfect. So that is a really good way to reuse found pieces. What's that, Jay?
Yeah.
I thought you said something.
I was excited about dirt.
Yeah.
Dirt.
Maya says pretty gems. I also back mine with metallic glitter or scrapbook paper. That is a great idea.
Oh, that's not a bad
There
idea.
is such pretty scrapbook paper out there. I'm like, what the heck? How is this on like so much glitter on this piece of paper? So, and Chris says no paint chips off either. So those are some really great materials that people don't really think of.
Thank you, Maya. You just gave me the most genius idea, and that just probably saved me like 2 hours of work. Oh my God, thank you. I just
instead of covering layers and layers of glitter.
I know. Oh my God, that's so genius. Thank you.
That's a great idea. I think I'm gonna have to use that for something too, because I've got some leftover scrap glitter paper too.
Well, and you can use super glue to back it to make it seal, and so then you won't have to worry about stuff peeling off. So yeah. And so we've all kind of talked about like our favorite unconventional materials. So Jason, is there a material you've used that you liked in the end, but it was such a pain in the butt that you were just like, oh gosh, why do I have to keep doing this? Yes, that's a very big yes.
So this thing's made with 6mm foam, some foam clay, and
wow, that looks so good.
So the fur is from yarn.
Whoa!
Why would you? Oh my God, that's so much work.
Yarn? Oh gosh.
I completely tried to save myself some money and not buy fur because I had never made a fursuit head before. And I was like, well, I do have a buttload of yarn. So I spent at least a week making wefts and then gluing them onto the
Oh
thing.
my God.
But that looks so amazing. It looks more natural than what fake fur would look
I
like.
think that's because yarn has more of a natural hair sheen, like it's very dull,
yeah.
and hair has that kind of dullness to it. So you don't have to baby powder the crap out of it. Because like with my fur that I have for Merida, I'm having to use dry shampoo to try and not make it as shiny.
Oh my God, though, that looks.
I can't imagine that probably
There
added
should
like
be. There's also a fog machine, but I don't think it's gonna show
a
up.
fog machine. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
that's
I
cool.
have a mini fog machine in the nose, made out of a like.
Oh, can you show the inside of it? Because I saw some wires.
Oh
and stuff.
yeah.
That's for the fog machine.
So there's the inside.
Cool.
And it's so clean on the inside. Wow.
There's a little push button that I just like click with my teeth.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then I don't know if you can see very well, but down the snout, you can kind of see where the battery and the
battery pack is attached to it. Yeah.
yeah.
I love seeing plain undersides of costumes and stuff because that's the point where people are like, I don't care what it looks like, but that looks so good inside. Oh my gosh.
When I have it, when I have it on, I just like do slight breathing, and it pushes the like smoke out of the nostril holes.
I have to say though, that's beautiful.
Did you glue the yarn onto like pieces of things and then brush it out and then trim it?
So I oh gosh, what did I do?
Share your technique.
Trauma brain.
I got a bunch of like strands in like different lengths just to make sure that I had all sorts of different and then I literally like I brushed it all out and then laid it out on like some wax paper so it wouldn't like stick, and used a bunch of tacky glue and basically made wefts.
There you go.
And smoothed it all out in the wax paper. And then after it dried, I peeled it off and like trimmed all the edges and then just like glued it straight to like hot glue, I think, to the foam base.
That is
Brush
so
it.
So the wefts are literally just the yarn and tacky glue.
Just yarn and tacky glue.
Wow,
So
okay.
I just like, I'm shocked. I commend you because like I tried doing this for holo because I wanted to make a new holo tail. So I started doing the yarn technique, and I just don't have patience for that dedication, because like you have to tie off yours, so you have to make all your yarn, tie them off, and then brush them out, and that takes forever, and you lose so much yarn that you have to make so much more waves
and
than
using
you
like
think.
a dog brush, because you have to like use a metal brush, and so like your hands just get torn up because you just like you're trying to go as fast as you can to get it all done, and you're just like, my hands just look like a cat attack. I'm just like,
but it looks so good. Wow. When you pulled that down, I was like, whoa, that looks so real. And then you were like, yarn. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
my partner's Laura has this giant tail for her Shuzo cosplay that is gorgeous, and it's a yarn tail, and I just like, which is why I was like, oh, I'll do it for holo, and then I was like, nope, I'm not one of those cosplayers.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
I'm just going to show
feel like next time I'm gonna, I think, pattern out some fur so it actually.
I see people use yarn for doll hair a lot, which is not much because it's just this tiny little doll head. So.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like that.
The hardest part is like trying to gauge if you have made enough. There, I had at least 3 points where I was like, this is totally enough, and it was not. Because like you brush it, you look like you have a bunch of like yarn there, and you brush it out, and you lose about half of it while brushing it. And so it's just
that's
never-ending brushes.
Did you that same technique for your Bakugo when you did the fantasy Bakugo?
Yes, fantasy Bakugo. Yes.
Yeah, I remember watching you do that, and I was like, holy crap, like, wouldn't it have been easier to just buy it like a sheet of fur?
Right, but his fur, I wanted it because his fur is like that crazy, like, out of control, like, poofy, like, wool.
Yeah, it looked really crazy good, so.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's like when cons are back, we should do a Bakugo and Kirishima fantasy.
Yes,
because
please.
I'm working on my baby.
Cons come back.
Cons come back.
That's all I want in life.
Go ahead, Jinx, and then I'll share my unconventional material that I didn't know was
a couple comments. So Maya says, "Yay, Kii-Chan! I used 2-part epoxy to attach paper for our Sailor Moon brooches. Those things are gorgeous. Wow, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Thank you.
2-part epoxy is like your friend, but yeah, always do that in a well-ventilated area." Sakura says, "I did yarn for my first 2 Suzo tails." Shuzo, sorry, I'm so bad today. Went to a wigtail because the maintenance on the yarn was not worth it, but it looks so good. There's very few times I've seen yarn used in place of hair, and I'm always amazed. But yeah, I can imagine it takes a long time, and it's not nearly as durable as hair wig fibers.
But it's so gorgeous.
Yeah, it is really good.
That's impressive. So I had one, like, it ended up looking good, but like one of the early costumes I did with a friend was Yuri and Kay from Dirty Pair Flash, and so we thought we were using vinyl. We found this fabric in Joann's, and we thought we were using vinyl. We later on found out it was actually plastic meant for furniture outside. Because when we started trying to use it, it started melting. Oh no, we lost Jason. We'll probably get Jason back in a second here.
Oh,
but it started melting, and so like we even like sewing it through a sewing machine created enough friction to where weird stuff started happening.
Oh my god. That must have been a pain.
So what we ended up doing was it ended up like, I think Lena, my friend, she used a lot of like glue and like adhesive, and I ended up using the finest, tiniest needle that I could on like the slowest setting to sew, and it was just obnoxious, but like it looks so good, and it has that kind of like anime shine.
Yeah.
No way to iron it, so I had to kind of use like a heat gun or something from really far away to try and get any wrinkles out of it when it did get wrinkles.
Wow.
And it was just so obnoxious. But it was one of those things that like I didn't realize I was using legitimate plastic until we tried.
It's too late.
That is so hilarious.
It didn't look like plastic, and then the inside we were like, wait a second, something's wrong.
Oh my god.
Those what have I done moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of our comments is asking if I'm Haruka. Yes, from the Splash Free ending, this is the Raver outfit. Because Haru is best boy, and I will bring Free back. That is my one goal for 2021, is to bring Free back. So,
oh man.
So Jinx, was there a material that you used that in the end it worked out, but you were so pissed off at it?
I don't know if, so
your Moana grass skirt stuff is kind of crazy.
Yeah, but that's not really unique for that costume, but it is kind of hard to maintain. So obviously it's super messy, it's gonna break off and get everywhere, so that's always a pain to clean up. And it's not too hard to work with, though. It's just in the end there's just like crap everywhere. The problem I did have was trying to paint it when I did my Wayfinder Moana. I was trying to paint it, so I still need to find a good solution for that. I was using watered down acrylic, and that wasn't quite working so well. As far as like found objects, I'm not sure, but I thought I was prepared for this, but I don't feel prepared. Like, there's a couple of things that I've used that make me a hoarder. For example, like my Academy Diva, I used a pair of headphones that sit on your neck, and I got them years and years and years and years and years ago. They're actually still serious headphones, and I kind of grew out of them, but I was like, I can't get rid of these. They're so nice. And then finally I was like, oh my God, I'll use them for Diva. So I actually did paint them, which sounds awful. They still work. So I painted those, but I hold on to things like that because I'm, a hoarder, just in case I might use them.
I feel slightly called out by this.
I'm always like, wait, don't throw that away. Like I
can
keep,
use that.
Yeah, like I keep
the
long tubes, the cardboard tubes from like wrapping paper I've kept, anything from like boxes. So like when I bought my couch, there were these really, really dense like cardboard pieces that were like in different shapes. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I don't know what to do with them, but I have them. So
you like it where
I need them. Yeah. So that's
It
kind of
works.
what I'm more like. I'm more like a hoarder just in case, instead of like actually using different materials. So
Well, it's
yeah.
kind of fun. Like this year, my goal, due to COVID, money is an issue. And so my goal this year has been building costumes out of what I have already. And so
Cool.
my fantasy Kirishima, all the stuff I'm using is stuff I have in my house. Like the only thing I bought recently, I think, were the boots.
Ooh,
And like
yeah.
the scarf, but the scarf was like $2. And so like I've been just really trying my best to use up the materials I have. And same with like my creme costume is mostly just stuff I had, revamping like wigs I already used, which has been fun. It's a challenge being a cosplayer going, okay, well, can I do that with what I just have in my arsenal of things that I've hoarded?
Yeah, for sure. That's because then I always go through my stuff. I'm like, might be time to clean out. And then I'm really like hard to decide, should I get rid of this cardboard tube or not? No, we'll hold on to it.
Well, I feel like when I did my Borderlands 3 Maya, so I'm gonna show you guys the jacket. The jacket is actually 3 leather skirts just sewn together. Because I didn't want to buy leather. So wait, where's the skirt? Where's the jacket? Dang it, Sam. This is the problem when I'm trying to scroll and I can't find anything. Here we go. So this is literally, I started out with black fabric and I hated the way it looked and I wanted a real sheen. So like this is legitimately, you can see kind of where some of the skirts are. So I just thrifted 3 leather skirts and they were different sizes and I removed all of the hardware from them except for one zipper and one belt that I wanted on the side for accent. And I leather painted everything. So like just a bunch of skirts. So you can use like, I mean, I would consider that kind of unconventional because it wasn't like me I had to deal with the already made structure of skirts and remove lining and remove hardware and completely alter the reality of these punk rock leather skirts.
That is a good idea, that if you do want real leather, because I actually have a leather skirt as well that I found at Goodwill that I bought, holding on to again, but it is real leather. So, and it cost me like, I think I bought it on like one of the half off days for like $4.
Yeah, you can do that too. And another unconventional material I forgot that I used. I used so many weird things on Maya. I actually bought strontium aluminate and I mixed it with some like fabric adhesive. And when you charge this for an hour in the sun, it glows in the dark.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So this is just me walking in my hallway where there's still light and you can see how brightly it's glowing.
I did that with Troy. My sleeve also glows, and I plugged like UVs into my wig as well, and I used UV makeup on the little face piece.
Whoa.
Yeah, so cool.
And it's super useful. Like there were even times where like I was in the convention center and I just walk into like a shadowed area and people thought there was a black light and I'm like, no, this is the material I used.
That's good old Phoenix. Like there's always
I'm gonna have
sun.
to give me some of that because I'm tired of messing with my blacklight wiring.
And you can actually mix this with some additional glow in the dark paint or UV reactive paint so that you mix the strontium aluminate and it's just strong. And it really only needs 1 to 2 hours of charge in the sun or underneath a UV lamp. And it's machine washable. So I washed it in my washing machine and it's still as bright as the day I made it. So,
wow,
and then just one of the ones where like I used the foam to make the wig. So that was like, there we go. That was it. The wig is just so long that I think definitely when you have something like this that you're going to use for things that are wearing on your head, you'll want to find some way to reinforce it. So I think I'm going to need to seal it with some kind of stronger, flexible glue because it is very difficult to maintain.
I can't imagine like making that length of a foam wig is just.
It was torture. I don't know why I did it to myself.
Maybe fabric glue?
I'm thinking fabric glue because like it looks really cool. I think I've got like the picture of the back of it at the top. It was one of those things where like I can't not wear it because the back of this is so textured, right? It works
right.
And I'm like, and it looks really good in different types of photos and lighting, but it's just so thin near the bottom that I've lost a couple pieces. So yeah. And I've only worn it like 3 times and I have it on I have it attached to it's a fetish mask that I cut the face out of so that I can clean it and so that the foam won't start wearing down.
Right.
I love that it's a fetish mask. Yeah.
It's a fetish mask. I'm doing the same thing for Nyrene Kandros. I'm going to buy a fetish mask that zips up in the front and back, and I'll have, washers sewn in so I can just magnetize the foam clay pieces. And if I need a break, I can just take off my face.
Certain things are really, really versatile. I don't remember. I remember seeing a video of a costume contest somewhere where a cosplayer used a harness for holding their tail.
Yeah. It's
So
a lot of those harnesses
fetish
and
wear is
straps.
really useful for some of those really hard to balance
Right.
props.
Yes.
Like for a wig, like you said, you make the foam wig cap. So like I have a really small head, and I had this concern, like I put it on and the wind would keep catching it. I was worried that my head, my foam wig was just going to vanish. And so that's why I had a fetish cap underneath that I cut the face out of. Plus, I was able to slide my ears through it. I created holes for my ears, so it secured around my ears. And then, Maya already has that black neck.
Right.
So it's just perfect.
That's so smart.
There's this is just the epitome of this episode is the fact that you can use virtually anything.
He's got that big, he's got a big foam collar, around. I always wind up, hitting the back of the wig, and it, tips it up or tips it forward, or, because there's just too much foam. That costume's 90% foam.
Well, what you could do too is there's places like CosGear now, right, where they sell the headband. So you could just put the headband on, have two little washers go to the inside, put that on, and then even if it knocks it, it's not going to come off because the magnets are attached.
Yeah, because right now I just I use fashion tape, and just fashion tape on the insides.
And that's the thing. People have been using fashion tape for a
What
long
type of
time.
fashion tape do you use? I've gone through so many, and there's so many that are so weak that they just don't do anything.
I use pay tape.
The one I use is pretty, not super great, I guess, but it's handy for conventions because I buy they come in a little pink pin, and they're just pre-cut strips.
Oh,
You know
that's
what's
nice.
also good is
Find that.
like Sam said, toupee tape. I've also used carpet tape because they come in bigger strips. It's a little bit hard here in Phoenix because obviously if you sweat, it comes off, but it's pretty strong, obviously. So you can find those obviously at Home Depot, other hardware stores. But yeah, I actually did get myself a roll of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I've used this brand before, so I didn't know they came in made done strips.
Yeah, you're right. It does come handy. You can find them on Amazon too, like other brands. So it's not they're a little bit cheaper. But strips are super handy to have in your emergency kit. So.
I have the big open chest costumes, and so I use fashion tape to keep my fabric down on my chest where it needs to be.
Yeah, try carpet tape. Look into carpet tape.
Sold. I've learned so much from this episode.
Have you tried the trans tape or the KT tape?
Not yet. I want to. I keep meaning to buy some. I have my binder right here. I made my own binder using essentially a squishy bra. Same idea. I laced it in the front, in the back, so it's a corset, so I can just pull it tight. And it's a lot cheaper because I can just wash this and reuse this anytime I want. So I've been really liking this method. It's just the
you have a tutorial on this?
I can put one up if people are interested.
Yeah, I think that you should.
Yeah, because I just basically reversed the laces and put a corset on it instead because it already has eyelets where the front is because you're supposed to be able to pull it tight in the front. And so I just reversed it and then it pulls everything back and up. And if you feel like your chest is a little bigger and so it's not as secure, you can always add a little bit of medical tape or trans tape to it to secure it. But I'm lucky and have a small chest and this is usually enough. That's
cool. That's awesome.
It's cheap. Yeah. I spent $30 making it, and now I've used it for 3 years, and it's paid for itself 100-fold.
That's amazing. As long as you're cleaning it and taking care of it, that's good.
Yeah, you just wash it with warm soapy water, and it's good.
A couple of comments here. So Julia says, Kii-Chan, are you Haruka?
Yeah, I answered that earlier. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm off Sundays. I'm off on Sundays, so sorry. Chris says my one material I had super hard time using and want to try again in the future is steel. Okay, that's super, super hardcore. I made Lorica segmentada. Is that right? Out of 20 gauge steel sheet that and the fit was atrocious. That is some really, really like hardcore cosplay there. That'd be awesome. Love to see that. I love seeing people work with steel. It's amazing. He says it was so uncomfortable that I had to ditch it in one of the panel rooms for Hack of the Con. But you learned a lot. Want to try again? Absolutely. That's what cosplay is all about. And so one of the great tips I got was to use cheap tactical vests from Amazon because they have a lot of attachment points. That's a good idea. Wow.
Yeah. It's really good for like big armor-based builds where your body's going to be hidden anyways. So you go to like army surplus stores and you buy like the waist belts and the chest harnesses, and then you can just clip everything together.
That's cool.
I just thought of a good unusual material. Dance tights. It's kind of the same concept. Like dance tights are so great because they're really thick. As somebody who has tattoos on their legs, like that's my hardest part is trying to get rid of my tattoos.
I never get rid of my tattoos. I'm just like whatever. It's there.
But dance tights are really nice because they're so thick that you can sew onto them or add anything to it. So if you need to make tattoos, dance tights are also another great option because you can just paint on it or you do acrylic or whatever you want to do to them, and they're really comfortable and warm for people like these Arizona people who come to Washington and say it's too cold.
On that note,
it is
also
too cold.
On that note, also they were talking about like fetish things like body stockings. People are always talking about how do I get like the skin tone, but I want to cover up a little bit. Like body stockings are actually a good option too. They obviously are meant for something else, but hey, if we can use it for a different purpose to fit our needs, why not? So
and body stockings, I've used body stockings a lot for different costumes. Like here, I'll just show this one right here.
I mean, but they have the holes in the nice places that make it easier to do your business faster. So I'm a firm believer in these.
When I did Pancreas, all of my like from like my like waist up until like where the little silver part is, all of that is just a body stocking. So this is all body stocking that I airbrushed more to match my skin tone.
Oh,
and we did the same thing when we did the 7 Deadly Sins maids. We airbrushed one leg because we didn't want to like have one leg black, so we airbrushed one leg to match. And like I've used the stocking method so many times. Like we've used it for our Twi'leks before, and it's super, super, super useful. Let me see if I can find a better picture of things so you can see what I'm talking about. Like right here. So, and when you go up super close, like you can tell it's mesh, but I mean, you have to be really up close. Like right here, the only reason you could tell is because I was bending over and there's a slight wrinkle, but it ended up looking like best.
It just looks like shadow.
Yeah, and so like you can't tell. My paint by this point, I was wearing it for 12 hours, so I was already dying. But but the thing is like mesh is super, super useful. Sorry, I'm trying to find like.
Do you know they have a couple different kinds of power mesh at the SAS in North Phoenix? Yeah. I was there yesterday. I was so tempted to buy some, but I'm like, I don't need it, but I want it. But I don't need it, but I want it.
But yeah, I mean, and the mesh is like super useful, and especially if you don't want to paint yourself, because there's just times where like
when I do my Molly mock, when I eventually get there, I'm gonna do. He's got tattoos all over his body, and so I want to just do a full body suit and just paint all the tattoos on, so I don't have to worry about it. And I'm really excited about that, but also like the things you do as a cosplayer.
So go ahead, Sam.
No, I was just saying, and we've also mentioned like you can do body modifications too with like tights and then shoving in some foam, or you can get like false breasts or false chests. So like there's a lot of unconventional ways to also like modify your body to fit whatever character you're trying to portray.
So what I kind of do as a rule of thumb when I'm starting a cosplay and I need some props or something, I take a day and I kind of walk through Goodwill. And I look at like, I love all the knick-knack stuff and like the wood area. And sometimes I just look and see what I could use for whatever it is that I need. Because it might be, I remember what it is now. So I had a friend that her daughter wanted to start cosplaying, so cute. So she wanted to be Sakura from Naruto. And we were looking at all these, they had no idea. They're like, what do we do? I'm like, let's go to Goodwill. So they had to find this, it was like the sheath for her. I think it was like a sheath for her knife or some little side pocket. And so we found this like little zip eyeglass case. And I was like, there you, it was perfect. I was like, perfect. So I was like, here you go. So that's the thing is like, you never know like what your solution is going to be.
So we used an umbrella in a sword. I forgot about this.
This
This is it. So Lena's sword, the red sword, that handle is I believe an umbrella handle.
Nice.
And then we just took all the stuff off of it, and then we were like, here you go. It's now a sword handle. And the same thing with her gun here. This is a ketchup gun that she painted.
A ketchup gun.
So, I mean, you can use some really unusual things.
I love the knick-knack section in Goodwill. Like,
I mean, if anybody's been following my social media, I have my Pirate Kirishima up. Those boots and that jacket and the scarf, like everything off that is thrift store. I didn't spend more than $20 on that costume, minus the wig, which is $40. But like, it was just so great because everything on there was a thrift store find. Everyone keeps messaging me about the jacket. I'm like, I'm so sorry, guys. It was a thrift store find. I have no idea where to buy it.
And also, like, if you need like polyfill, go on like half off days or dollar days and buy some deco pillows, throw them in the washing machine, and then you've just got lots of polyfill.
Right, they just rip it all out.
Yeah,
I don't know how many sheets I've bought for just like, hey, I need to make a pattern really quick. I'll just go buy a king size sheet for like $2 and then just go to town to it.
Or handbags and purses that you can like
leathery pants at the thrift store.
Are you serious?
Which,
wow.
Yeah, and my coat is just made out of a tablecloth.
Yeah.
So
that's
like
awesome.
That's genius.
Definitely like think out of the box. And like I said, if you have no idea where to start, just go to Goodwill and walk around and see what jumps out at you. So that's my favorite way to start.
I mean, me and my best friend are doing a project right now for D&D, and we literally just took like $30 each, went to the thrift store and just bought a bunch of stuff for a tavern. And so when we finally see those posters, you'll see almost all that shit was just bought in a day, just walking through the thrift store, just going, oh, we want this, we want this, we want this.
I miss perusing Goodwill. I would do it like once a week. See what
No, you can find so much, and even props. Like a lot of people are doing TikToks now and video stuff. Like you can find great backgrounds, great props, all kinds of stuff.
Well, especially like Nerf guns, tons of Nerf guns. Get a Nerf gun as your base and you build up from there, you know.
Yeah, perfect. Nerf guns or trash cans. My brother was Mr. Freeze, and he just got a clear trash can and threw it over as his little
trash can, so you can see what you throw away.
Yeah. So we're coming near the end. So if you guys have any questions, please post them. So Jason, I'm just going to share some pictures. And do you have any advice for people, kind of when they're approaching the subject of creating a costume? How you prefer to do it?
I mean, always gather all your references that you're gonna want. I like to break down things like for this, for example, I broke down how I was gonna wear everything and store everything. My rip tire has a 60-pound pole magnet on it.
Oh wow!
So it can actually remove from my back harness. And then the lower spikes have magnets, so I can remove them and set it on the ground.
Ah, so clever!
But it also Velcro's open, like the tire is hollow, and so most of my items fit in there.
Oh wow! That's great.
Wig is how I did the same process with the makeup, where I did the latex paper towels, and I actually like 3D modeled. I took the 3D model for Junkrat and I made patterns from his hair file, and then built it out of 2mm and covered it in like wig wefts.
How did you get that leg though? Like, how hard was it walking around a convention with an extra appendage like swinging?
Cosplayer, I think they're Baka Cosplay, I think. And they are who I found this thing for Junkrat. And essentially, so what I used is I made like a wooden dowel, and it has kind of like a foam base on the bottom for like my knee to rest on. And some elastic where the like knee area goes over, and it's almost like a tube with like a hole cut so that it wraps around. And then I just kind of, when I'm walking, it sticks straight out. It looks kind of funny when I'm walking. And so like you can see I have a little string there, as like a leash, so I don't, crack people's shins.
Oh,
And-
nice. That's a good idea.
And then it just props back up when I like when I bend my
Yeah.
knee. I
That's
messed up.
crazy.
That's awesome.
But as far as like, always looking for YouTube tutorials and things. If you don't know how to do things, kind of just Google it and see if anybody else has any sort of idea. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes a lot of people make tutorials on things that might not be what you're looking for, but you could unconventionally put it towards something else.
Absolutely. A couple comments here is Robert says fiberglass and resin are tough. Definitely need to know what you're doing. I've just started kind of getting into resin and I'm really loving it. HR Hatch says the handle for my Wonder Woman lasso is a golf club handle I ripped off a golf.
Oh,
They have golf clubs all the time at Goodwill, so that's really smart as well. So guys, if you have any other questions, I just want to make an announcement for one of our future episodes. We are going to have Yaya Han back on, guys, February 28th. Sunday, February 28th. She has a new fabric line that's going to be launching in March, and we are going to be running a giveaway. So, guys, keep an eye out for that. It's going to be running all month. We're excited to have her back on.
And a quick comment, it's for US only. We're really sorry, and it does exclude Hawaii and Alaska.
Because
I'm really sorry, but yeah, because of COVID and shipping's become difficult, that's the rules. We're really sorry.
So if you are in one of those states, maybe get a friend that's in a different state and they can help you out. But we're excited because Cosplay Fabrics is sponsoring some of that giveaway. So we are super, super, super excited. So guys, keep an eye out for that. All right.
So Jason, where can everybody reach you? I did share your Ko-Fi coffee, whatever.
I like calling it Ko-Fi.
I'm right in the middle of changing everything from JSythe Costumes to Customs because I'm doing more than just my costume work now. But it's JSythe Customs on Facebook and Instagram. My TikTok is just I think J_Scythe.
I think so.
We've got most of the things you just type in JSythe and it'll at least start to come up. Like, something should pop up somewhere.
Nice.
Cool, thank you. And then Kii-Chan?
Hi, you can find me at Kii-Chan_Cosplay on Instagram, or Kii-Chan Cosplay is one word on Facebook, or in the depths of TikTok, I am Tiny_Raincloud. There might be a little bit of construction. I'm kind of trying to, now that I don't know, I always say that I'm on construction, like I'm trying to figure out how to reformat my social media, and I just can't, I'm just never satisfied. So I've been kind of playing around with it. You might see some new content popping up shortly.
Yay, Kii-Chan.
My Facebook is really quiet. I don't know. I just always get shadow banned or something like that. I just never get any.
Facebook's
Nobody's
hard
ever
to-
on there. So check me out on Instagram and TikTok, and I'm more likely to answer your questions.
Yeah, I sometimes forget because I post everything like through Instagram. And
Yeah.
sometimes I click that little like share through Facebook. And
You
I'm
know,
like,
you guys,
Facebook.
if you try the business suite for Facebook, you can post both now. Because I used to use Buffer to post to
Yeah,
both.
I have that. It's just sometimes I just forget because there's like a little slider button. So you'll be like,
okay.
so sometimes I'm like, oh, that's been turned off the last 6 posts. My bad.
And a couple of comments. We are so sorry. Contiguous US only.
Of course,
Cosplay-
if you know somebody who lives in the U.S. and they're willing to ship the stuff to
Contiguous
you,
US.
we are legally
Go
allowed
ahead.
to do it. You could just have them enter on your behalf, and then
it's a requirement that Cosplay Fabrics is doing because of the COVID.
it's a limitation of what the businesses are actually allowed to do. Canada, I know for a fact I've been having difficulty getting stuff to people I know there. So, and even Alaska and Hawaii, so many places are locked down from a transit perspective. Even like their airports have limitations. So I think that's why they're like, we just can't get by.
We're super excited because one of the prizes is a cosplay foam package, which I received one from Cosplay Fabrics because I had won some little contest they did and it was amazing. Oh my god! So guys, keep an eye on that. And where you can find me, I have a website, jinxcosplay.com, and on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram, I am the Jinx Cosplay. Yes.
I'm a pull Jinx up. Let's see here. Okay.
And then also CosTalk Live, guys. We stream every Sunday at 12 p.m. Mountain. That's 11 a.m. Pacific. And we stream on 3 platforms. 3. I mean, wait. 3. It's not 6. 3. We stream on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So follow us on any of those platforms and share it with your friends. And follow us on Instagram too, because we're on Instagram as well.
And we're working on building stuff up. So
yeah.
And then I am Sam from ThermoCosplay, and it's just really ThermoCosplay.com has everything. So if you go here, you get access to all the information: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everything there. So that's going to be your easiest place to go and reach me. And I have all my tutorials there too. Although unfortunately, it looks like my website didn't publish my 2 latest ones, so I'll update that. But
what are we doing next weekend? Because that was supposed to be when Yaya goes, but we moved
next
it.
week. We actually moved pros and cons to next week. As long as one of them experienced it recently, so as long as that individual is okay and feels up for it, we will be talking about what it's like behind the camera as a photographer. So photographers interacting with cosplayers. So we talked about being a cosplayer in front of the camera. Now it's time to talk about like what do photographers face and what can maybe we as cosplayers do better for them.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So tune in next time. Thank you so much for coming to see us again. We really love you guys. Thank you, Jason, for being our guest this week.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Be safe, everyone.
Bye.
Happy cosplaying.